it's Saturday night. Hello, all. It's Dr. Gilbert here, along with Rachel Matthews, and I'm just going to put it out put it out there right now. I'm tired. I'm tired. I got back from Rachel. I just got back in, as you know, from Atlanta, where I was attending the OMA spring conference, and it was so great to be with people again after 2 years or more than 2 years of doing online CME.
Yes.
It was so great to reconnect. That was the best part about it, reconnecting with people who are passionate about the same thing you're passionate about. So, and then got to do some mentoring, which was awesome, and learn from the experts, and then also see my son, Jacob, and who lives in Atlanta, and meet all his friends. So it was awesome. But Rachel, I probably went to bed a little bit later and got up a little bit earlier to shove all that good stuff in.
I bet. And you're a little jet lagged now.
I'm jet lagged, yeah, because it's 3 hour time difference. Yeah.
But how great to tie it all together with some family stuff and the work stuff. That's really cool that it was in Georgia for that.
Yeah,
for you.
It was good. It was a beautiful weather. Apparently different from here. Apparently it rained all time.
It's just been raining. Right.
Well, you know that old saying, April showers bring May flowers.
So here we go.
But what do May showers bring?
Soggy flowers. Very, very soggy trailheads and muddy paths. And so many weeds. Right?
So many
weeds.
All right. We're talking about, where's my book? Yes, that book.
This one.
Yes, Food Rules. Thank you. And we are just moving along in our little discussion.
We only have this much left.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to figure out what our next, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
But Rachel, tell us what our chapter is about today.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're talking about there it is. Chapter 48, Consult Your Gut. This is one of my most favorite topics in nutrition and health, is the gut microbiome. And mainly what he's asking us is, when we're talking about this section of how to eat, he's saying, consult your gut. So check in with your stomach, with your hunger hormone, your hunger like cues to determine how much to eat, rather than our cultural cues, environmental cues, habitual cues. Right?
Give us some examples of those, Rachel. What's an example of a cultural cue?
So I would say a cultural cue is going to be what our culture and this could be specific to the US, but it also could be more specific to your state, to your city, to your work culture, to your home culture, right? You got to pare this down, but we're getting cues from all of them. So, the culture of the country is the sad American diet, right? Fast food, quick, highly processed, go food. And then you have the cues of when you drive to work or drive somewhere, what stores are you passing?
Yes. Yeah. There's a magnetic pull.
There is. Yeah. Especially if it's a certain time of day and you're hungry and you haven't eaten. There's work culture cues of everybody
in the break room
the break room. Everybody's going out and we're going to go grab some drinks after work and some appetizers, or we're all going to go to pizza for lunch, and then now there's this, those cues. Watching people, your environment can also be seeing other people get up and move towards food, whether it's lunch, into the kitchen, they bring back and they pass by you. I mean, really, when you're trying to figure out what's triggering you to eat outside of the normal meal time,
right?
Got to pay attention to all of these things. It can just be hearing someone open the refrigerator and you're in another room, and that can kind of be this little like
my dog when I jiggle the little canister lid.
Yeah,
he's like treat. Yeah.
Here we go. Right. And that's how we are.
That's how we are.
Exactly. But then we also have, environmental cues of the portion of the food we made, how big our plates are.
Right.
When you pour something into a glass to drink, when you scoop something out into a bowl, when you buy something from the store that's coming either prepackaged or kind of like apples, I think of. This is a really big example. Apples are becoming as big as my face.
I know.
They're enormous. Now, my favorite right now are the Honey Crisps because they are so delicious, but they are giant. So one thing that's helped me stay away from those giant is that if I only buy organic apples, which by the way are on the Dirty Dozen this year from the working.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So when I buy organic apples, they typically are not as big as my head. Right. They're a small snack. They're the portion size. One apple is a portion. Right. Anytime I get away from that, though, they're the enormous. But that's a cue. You know, you think one apple. I will eat one apple.
Right.
One of those apples is at least 2 to 2.5 servings.
Yeah, at least maybe.
They're as big as a softball.
Yeah, maybe even 3. I know there's
maybe even 3 servings.
Yeah. Exactly. So, okay. So we want to consult our gut, our physical cues for hunger rather than our surroundings for when we're going to eat.
Yes.
Or even what we're going to eat, maybe. So let's talk about those physical cues for hunger. What does physical hunger feel like?
You know, I think that this is a tricky one because the more and more people I talk to, we're becoming, they've become unattached to their physical cue. They don't know anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just 12 o'clock, time to eat.
Right. They're just using the clock or the culture cues of when somebody else got up for lunch. Oh, it must be time. And we've either been not listening to our hunger cues or we are eating so frequently that we never actually get hungry. So we don't actually know. I mean, when's the last time you felt hunger?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. We're eating so frequently that we don't really get hungry.
Yeah. Your stomach never has a chance to growl or for you to feel that low energy. You know, sometimes you can feel a low energy. I feel a stomach growl, you know, but if I ignore it and I don't pay attention, the growl will go away and it won't come back for me. Right. And then what I have to realize is, oh my gosh, it's been 6 or 7 hours since I've eaten and I'm irritable, I'm low energy, I'm headachy, I can't focus, I have brain fog, and I have to think and go, oh, I haven't eaten, right? So, those would be cues that if you're not hearing your stomach growl, and it's been, you know, a good 4 to 5 hours, then it's then who knows what the cue is going to be, and then we get into the food emergency,
right?
Which we talked about last week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I was really trying to pay really close attention when I was in a different time zone to when I was feeling those physical hunger cues when I was in Atlanta. And let's see. So I was definitely, I'm through. It's 12 o'clock here, 3 o'clock there. So I really wasn't hungry at noon when it was time for lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at 12 o'clock
it was like 9 o'clock for me, you know. So and I wasn't really hungry. So that took a little bit of trying to, you know, do I eat? You know, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you find that worked? How did you get onto that schedule?
Well, I adjusted it over, 2 days, I suppose. And then, I waited actually to eat. I didn't eat my usual breakfast. So I broke my fast at that lunchtime.
Right.
And that worked.
Yeah.
So I ended up eating just twice a day there.
Yeah.
And that worked. So.
And that would work. I can see how that would really, because if you're only eating twice, you're going to be hungry whenever it's time to eat in that time zone. And then you'll kind of jump onto that more natural.
Yeah.
The circadian rhythm there. So that's the thing too, is, our gut, our hunger, and then our circadian rhythm, they're all connected. They're all connected. And if we're eating at different times of the day, every day, and there's not really a normalcy to it, we don't get into a nice rhythm, which then can really impact our sleep. And when the body thinks I should be going to sleep, when should I get tired?
Right.
What do I do with my hormones?
Yeah. And when we stay up a little later than our body is telling you to go to sleep and you ignore that.
Yes.
That actually then the physical ghrelin goes up because you need, your body is trying to say, hey, you need energy, and the way we're going to get it is by sleeping. But you're ignoring that, and you still need energy. So, okay, well then let's get the energy from more.
Let's eat.
Yeah.
Which I think I love the way you just described that. That was so succinct of why do you get hungry at night? Why are we snacking more in the evening, especially if you're staying up past 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, you're getting into those later hours. The body has given you cues that it's time to go to bed. And at some point, it was ignored or not felt. And then the body's saying, okay, well, I guess we're staying awake. So we need to eat. We need to get that
get energy
level up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the gut, so what do you think are some good ways for us to recognize when we're taking our cues from our eyes, right? So maybe not just the cultural or the environmental cues of other people eating or hearing people eat, but what is it that we see that maybe triggers us?
Right. Well, I mean, especially since when a lot of us have been working remotely from home, maybe we're sitting at the kitchen table and using the kitchen table as a desk. And then, there's dishes or food on the table or the refrigerator or we're walking by the pantry, in order to go to the bathroom or something like that. So, a lot of those things that probably may not be there if I'm sitting in my cubicle at the office.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even just things that are on the counter. So, making sure that there isn't food set out, like bowls of nuts or bowls of things that you would be tempted to just grab a handful of. Yeah. Keeping everything in the pantry, in the refrigerator, behind cupboards, so that when it's time to eat, you eat the things and then put it all back away.
Right.
In the same way that, we were talking in our group last week about how frustrated we are with offices that you go to. So think about doctor's offices, not your doctor's office, but doctor's offices, your hair appointment, the vet clinic, the bank, and they all have these bowls of snacks and treats and lollipops and candy.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting out and they're right in front of you, right? You walk up to the teller and it's like right in front of you. Or one woman was describing that every time she goes to her hair salon, the person has this gorgeous, big, beautiful bowl full of just basically like Halloween candy or whatever. And she's like, every time it just like triggers me, So we talked about strategies. One of the things that we mentioned is, could she verbalize that and kind of advocate for herself beforehand? She knows this person very well. Would she be comfortable saying, this is kind of throwing me off, and I'm really trying to watch my sugar intake, or I'm really trying to not eat between meals, and that kind of triggers me. Would you mind just not having that bowl out when I get there? And it seems a little forward, but I think that people are usually pretty
open and receptive. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Yeah. I won't tell you what happened to me the last time I was at the hairdresser.
Does that mean you should tell us?
No.
Oh,
I'll tell Gail after.
Okay.
I'll just keep you guessing.
Yeah. So now we're all excited to want to know about this. So send her lots of text messages and say, what happened? Yeah. But another way we can do it is with our the size of our bowls, right?
Right.
Spoons. That can
smaller. If you fill a smaller plate, your brain will accept, perceive fullness from the same amount of food, or better from the same amount of food on a smaller plate versus a larger plate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been tried and true. I mean, this is what we know.
Yes. There's research that really interesting. You could probably just Google like bowl of soup, and there's a study that they did with people whose bowl of soup For some, it was just a serving. The other group, there was a hole at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. There was a tube filling it back up as they were eating. It was refilling, but they didn't know, of course. And they're just eating and eating. And the bowl's not, so they're thinking, well, I got to finish my bowl.
Right.
And so how we're paying attention to what is on the plate and what is in front of us rather than what our body says about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So physical hunger tends to come on gradually, right?
Yes.
And it is growling because that stomach is empty, and there's some muscle movement, but your fundal cells make ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone, and that gets dumped into your bloodstream and goes and crosses the blood-brain barrier, and then it works on this area in your brain called the arcuate nucleus. I know this because I just went to the.
I know. I can tell that you've got some fresh, descriptive ways of talking through this. This is awesome.
Right. And it turns off the POMC-CART pathway and turns on the agouti-related peptide pathway. And one is satiety. So it turns off satiety and turns on hunger. And then it creates these hunger behaviors. So actually, we know that some people have more ghrelin. They produce more ghrelin than other people. So they have more physiologic hunger. So it's interesting. One of the exercises that we can do, and I might write about this, is to find out if after we eat and we feel that fullness, not overly full, but on our hunger scale, 0 being super hungry, ravenous, 10 being Thanksgiving Day stuffed. If we eat at a 3, if we start eating when we're feeling those hunger pains, if we honor the hunger and then eat slowly. We talked about this last time. Put our fork down, breathe, let the food, swallow all the food before you put any more in. And then stop eating at a 6 or a 7, maybe between 6 and 7. Then pay attention to, look at a clock or a watch and pay attention to when you get hungry again. When you feel physical hunger again. It's a really good exercise, and it can tell you a lot of things about how fast your gastric emptying time is, or maybe the quality of the food that you're eating.
Yes.
Yes. Because higher food quality keeps you fuller longer. I don't know if you knew that. You probably did. Yeah. So, but it can be a really good exercise about how long you feel full and when you get physically hungry again. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is if we can recognize what our hunger senses are, what it feels like to be hungry. So when we first feel that hunger, that stomach growling, but we're not at a emergency, right? We're just sensing that, and we're going to honor that. So we're hungry. Now we're going to eat something slowly, maybe over 20 minutes or so,
right?
Until we no longer have hunger,
right?
And we feel satisfied, not full,
right?
And certainly not bloated or exploding, which we've all done before. But in that I'm comfortable.
Right.
And I can almost forget about food now, and I'm ready to go. There's an author who describes it as eating to the sense of energy, to where because once we've eaten, now the body says, well, now you should go do some things, and we get an energy. We get a shift in energy to go do things, to go now be productive. Whether it's now you're clear in the brain, so you're going to work more, or you're going to go out and work in the garden, or go for your walk, or we get energy. So when you feel that sense of energy, and then at that point, you want to start timing. And what you're saying is pay attention to when that same hunger cue comes on. Not when you're just craving snacking.
Right.
But when does a true hunger? Well, I guess if you are craving snacking, that would be an important thing to document too. Because how come only after an hour I'm already craving something?
Right.
And does that speak to my food quality or to my the fiber and the nutrition. And
right.
What the quality was.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this practice. This is interesting.
Yeah. Great. All right. I learned there's so many good takeaways from the conference, and hopefully as we move forward but what's so exciting, Rachel, I think the biggest thing is that we got something going on here at Oregon Weight and Wellness.
We do.
Yeah,
we do. I'm glad to hear you say that. So from your experience at this conference, you're recognizing like, yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, we're offering that. We're meeting the needs of our patients. Yeah, this is our wraparound care. Right. That must feel so confirming of the work that we're doing at Oregon Weight and Wellness.
Yes, it was very, it was very good.
Oh,
it was very good. And you know what? Atlanta has very good restaurants.
Healthy,
yeah, my son took me to several really yummy restaurants. I've tried things that I hadn't tried before. So we went to this Israeli restaurant, and I really used my intuitive eating skills there, and really enjoyed things that I wouldn't have tried before, and ate very slowly. It was very Mediterranean.
Yes, nice. Ooh, how exciting!
It was good, very good. All right. Well, thanks so much. This has been a great discussion. Hey, I have no idea what's for dinner for me. I got nothing. It's going to be protein and produce. I know that. That's on my go-to.
It's going to be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to dig into my Plan B box, right? Which thankfully I have. I've created that. I've created that Plan B box so that I don't have to go to the other options,
Yeah. There's always something that you can put together on a whim, quickly, last minute, that will still meet the needs. Yeah.
Frequently I'll do my free range eggs with some vegetable, and I mean, right now I know I have beets and I've got avocado and I have nuts and seeds. So anyway, there'll be something. It'll kind of be a little hodgepodge, but it'll still be Plan B box, still whole and real. So
that's great. Yeah. I love that. Good. Well, for me, dinner is going to be, I made a lentil soup yesterday at my Instant Pot. I've been really leaning on the soups the last several months because it's just soup.
It's just soup season.
It's just soup season. So
today,
pretty lentil soup. But I also made a new savory oatmeal recipe this morning from the Food Revolution Summit. Ocean Robbins has, and you can even just Google it, Ocean Robbins savory oatmeal recipe. And I made it in my Instant Pot with steel cut oats, and it had tons of veggies, but it was a savory, right? There's cumin and turmeric, and there's so not a sweet oatmeal, but it was really good and very satisfying this morning.
I love that. I love retreat the sweet and treat the savory. Retreat the sweet and treat the savory. And a lot of times, like, why would I use oatmeal and savory? Yeah, oatmeal and savory. It's a grain, right? And it can be used as savory, right? That's awesome. I love it. I'm going to look for that.
It was so good. Yeah, check it out online. Especially with the steel cut, it felt more like a grain, like you're saying, and rather less like an oatmeal type of,
a cereal. Yeah. More like a grain.
So there was no peanut butter in it, and there was, I normally put peanut butter in my oatmeal in the morning, but there was still flax seeds and hemp seed hearts.
Right, sure.
Seeds.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. So
I'd love to try that. Okay, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Always great. Rachel, you always have great ideas. Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, everyone, stay healthy. Whole, real food works for you. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.